Throughout history, nations have risen to great heights, only to face unforeseen challenges that lead to their decline. Some of the world's most prosperous countries, once symbols of success and opportunity, have unfortunately become shadows of their former selves, plagued by conflict, economic instability, and political turmoil. In today's video, we'll explore 10 countries that were once thriving, but now stand as cautionary tales of how quickly fortunes can change. Join us as we uncover the stories behind their fall and the factors that led to their current state. Before we begin, I'd like to kindly ask for your support. Our team works hard to bring you high-quality content with every video, so please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get started. Number 10. Iraq. When Iraq is mentioned, images of war-torn landscapes, damaged homes, and widespread poverty likely come to mind. However, Iraq was not always in this state. With a population exceeding 46 million, Iraq is the 35th most populous nation, but its history over the last few decades has been deeply marked by war and devastation. Under the rule of Saddam Hussein, who became president in 1979, Iraq experienced authoritarian governance, with a strong centralized power structure and limited political freedom. Saddam's regime, backed by the Ba'ath Party, tightly controlled Iraqi politics and the country's resources, with oil serving as the backbone of Iraq's economy. The 1970s saw a period of relative prosperity due to high oil prices. However, the costly Iran-Iraq War and the Gulf War led to economic downturns, international sanctions, and immense debt. Iraq, which once boasted an advanced infrastructure, including a robust education and healthcare system, soon found itself grappling with rising social tensions, especially between the Sunni and Shia communities and between Arabs and Kurds. Despite its rich cultural history as the cradle of civilization, home to ancient Mesopotamian civilizations such as Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon, the 2003 US-led invasion and subsequent political instability have severely weakened the country. Iraq transitioned into a federal parliamentary republic, yet political corruption, ongoing violence, and the rise of terrorist groups like ISIS have resulted in millions of displaced citizens, leaving the country in a state of turmoil. Number 9. Afghanistan. Very few people today would consider relocating to Afghanistan. According to the World Population Review, Afghanistan's population stands at approximately 43 million as of 2023, although many are leaving the country in search of better lives abroad. Prior to the Soviet invasion in 1979, Afghanistan was a monarchy under King Zahir Shah, who ruled from 1933 until he was overthrown in 1973. The country was relatively stable during this time, with its agrarian economy providing most of its sustenance. However, the 20th century marked the beginning of Afghanistan's long-standing conflicts. The Soviet-Afghan War, followed by a devastating civil war and the rise of the Taliban in the 1990s, further destabilized the country. In 2001, the US-led invasion ousted the Taliban from power, but Afghanistan has since returned to Taliban rule as of 2021. The country's economy is now in a precarious state, heavily reliant on foreign aid, which has decreased under Taliban control. Today, unemployment and poverty are rampant, infrastructure is underdeveloped, and Afghanistan's opium trade continues to fuel both local and international drug markets. The rollback of rights for women and minorities, along with the rise of extremist policies, have further compounded the challenges faced by Afghanistan society, making it one of the most fragile nations in the world. Number 8. Zimbabwe. Once a thriving nation in southern Africa, Zimbabwe was a model of productivity and development. With a 2023 population of 16.7 million, the country once held the title of the breadbasket of Africa, due to its robust agricultural sector. During the 1980s and 1990s, Zimbabwe was renowned for producing significant quantities of maize, tobacco, and other crops, contributing to the country's overall prosperity. Zimbabwe's early post-independence years saw heavy investment in education and healthcare, resulting in impressive literacy rates and improved living standards. However, in the early 2000s, a combination of poor land reform policies, political instability, and economic mismanagement plunged the country into financial turmoil. Hyperinflation reached historic levels in 2008, devaluing the currency and leaving millions in poverty. Zimbabwe's agricultural sector, once the backbone of its economy, collapsed under the weight of poor governance and recurrent droughts, leading to chronic food shortages that continue to exacerbate the country's woes. Number 7. Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, is often cited as one of the richest countries in Africa due to its vast natural resources. It holds significant reserves of cobalt, copper, and diamonds, as well as immense hydroelectric potential. Despite its resource wealth, most Congolese citizens have yet to see the benefits. Formerly known as Zaire under President Mobutu Sese Seko, the DRC's natural wealth was exploited by colonial powers and a small elite, leaving the broader population impoverished. Today, the DRC remains one of the poorest and most unstable countries in the world, plagued by ongoing conflict, widespread corruption, and a lack of access to basic services for much of the population. Number 6. Libya. Libya was once one of Africa's wealthiest countries, thanks to its abundant oil reserves. Under the leadership of Muammar Gaddafi, who ruled from 1969 until his death in 2011, the country transitioned from a poor desert nation to a relatively prosperous state. Oil revenues fueled massive investments in infrastructure, education, and social welfare programs, giving Libya one of the highest human development rankings in Africa. However, Gaddafi's authoritarian rule, combined with growing internal discontent, culminated in the 2011 civil war. Gaddafi was overthrown and killed, plunging Libya into a period of political chaos, factional fighting, and economic decline. The nation's oil wealth is now largely inaccessible due to the ongoing instability, and the Libyan people continue to suffer from deteriorating living standards and damaged infrastructure. Number 5. Somalia. Somalia, located in the Horn of Africa, was once considered a strategic hub for trade, thanks to its long coastline and thriving fishing industry. In the 1960s and 1970s, the country enjoyed relative stability and benefited from foreign investment, which bolstered its infrastructure and social services. However, the assassination of President Siad Barre in 1991 plunged Somalia into civil war, leading to the collapse of the central government. Today, Somalia faces significant challenges, including ongoing violence, poverty, and food insecurity. Despite efforts to stabilize the country, Somalia remains in a precarious state, with much of its infrastructure in ruins. Number 4. Haiti. Haiti was once one of the most prosperous colonies in the world, known as the Pearl of the Antilles. Its plantations produced vast quantities of sugar and coffee, fueling the French economy. However, after gaining independence through a successful slave revolt in 1804, Haiti was forced to pay a massive indemnity to France, plunging the new nation into debt. Today, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, struggling with poverty, political instability, and a lack of basic services. Crime rates have surged in recent years, with a sharp rise in homicides and kidnappings, exacerbating an already fragile situation. Number 3. Yemen. Yemen was once a prosperous center of trade and culture, known in ancient times as Arabia Felix, or Fortunate Arabia. Its wealth came from controlling lucrative trade routes, particularly for incense and spices. In more recent history, Yemen was famous for its coffee exports, especially from the port city of Mocha. However, years of internal conflict, corruption, and the ongoing civil war since 2015 have devastated Yemen. The country now faces a severe humanitarian crisis, with widespread poverty, food insecurity, and a fractured political system. Number 2. Venezuela. Venezuela, once one of the wealthiest countries in Latin America, was transformed by its vast oil reserves into a major global exporter. Oil wealth brought significant prosperity during the mid-20th century, enabling the country to invest heavily in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. However, economic mismanagement, corruption, and a reliance on oil revenue left Venezuela vulnerable to market fluctuations. The sharp decline in oil prices in 2014 triggered a severe economic crisis, resulting in hyperinflation, food and medicine shortages, and mass emigration, leaving the country in a state of deep instability. Number 1. Syria, much like Iraq, has been deeply impacted by conflict. Prior to the ongoing civil war, Syria had a diverse economy, with a strong agricultural sector, modest oil production, and a strategic position along historical trade routes. The war, which began in 2011, has caused widespread destruction, severely damaging infrastructure, agriculture, and the economy. The conflict has displaced millions of people, leading to a humanitarian disaster, and reducing Syria from a once relatively prosperous nation to one struggling to meet even the most basic needs of its citizens. As we've seen, the journey from prosperity to hardship can be swift and complex, driven by a combination of internal and external factors. The stories of these once thriving nations serve as a powerful reminder of the fragility of stability and the importance of resilience in the face of adversity. We hope this video has offered insights into the challenges these countries have faced. If you found this content informative, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the forces that shape our world.